The sheer improbability of the Krays' success adds to this significance, for the odds against their rise would seem to have been enormous. They lacked finesse and had no education and no knowledge of the world. They were emotionally unstable, and on top of this most criminologists would dismiss them both as complete anachronisms, the last of the old-style Cockney villains acting out half-baked fantasies of Al Capone's Chicago. Yet despite all this, they came close to building a true empire of crime in Britain. And they did this with extraordinary ease. It is this ease that is disturbing. Any society that lets two Cockney villains get away with what the Kray twins did must be quite frighteningly vulnerable and, if nothing else, their rise to power shows just how fragile the whole skin of order is in Britain. All that the Kray twins did was to bring the threat of violence into areas that had previously been relatively free from it, the fringes of big business, society and politics, the world of the suburban clubs and of the new legalized West End gambling. They had no startling techniques, and apart from violence, their one unerring instinct was for corruption. They could smell out the vulnerable as a pig smells truffles, and the corrupt became their victims. The violent will always feed on the corrupt, and it was not surprising that the twins found greater possibilities in society at large than in the poverty of Bethnal Green. The use the Kray twins made of these new possibilities is something of an object lesson in what violence can achieve in Britain. They used it to create an area of freedom from the law. In different quarters it was the twins' name, not the laws, that kept the peace. People knew that they had more to lose from the twins' enmity than they would ever gain from the law's protection. The twins' power was a challenge to the authority of the state, and for a long time, it appeared as if the state were powerless against them. For they seem to have stumbled on the formula for an independent, self-perpetuating criminal power in Britain. Part of their secret was size, for with crime as with business benefits increase with the scale of the operation. The twins were adroit users of bribery, blackmail and connections and could afford good lawyers and advisors and pay well for information. They manipulated the establishment, and used politicians, even to the extent of having questions asked on their behalf in Parliament. More importantly, they could always stay behind the scenes, organizing other men to do their bidding and ensuring that they themselves were never compromised. It is a revelation of the twins' career to see with what ease they built themselves a position of immunity. Paradoxically, the fact that they were widely known as organizing gangsters proved an advantage. It added to their reputation, made people fear them more and even brought them a certain status as celebrities. Journalists and public figures could be used, certain policemen had their price, trials could be fixed and prisons infiltrated. The potentiality of power like this was vast. Protection rackets formed the largest single source of income, but on top of them, The twins easily controlled a network of associated crime, part of which they initiated and from all of which they took their toll. They were already well into large-scale fraud, crooked share deals, organized intimidation and blackmail, and were thinking of extending to drugs, deals with foreign criminal networks and prostitution. Their contacts with the American mafia in London showed what could be done. Control was easy to enforce through delegated violence. Profits would be enormous, and there would be no difficulty in investing overseas and building up legitimate businesses abroad. With power like this, the twins could easily have become invulnerable. That they did not was due entirely to their personal deficiencies. What limited them was not the law but their stupidity. As criminals, their major defect was lack of seriousness. They proved incapable of exploiting the power they created and in the end became self-indulgent and erratic, soon bored and often surprisingly timid. Society was lucky. The twins destroyed themselves. Another time we may not be so fortunate. All the words were spoken by the late Krays author John Pearson.